Since it's the last show, I thought I would share with you some stories from the road. First of all, I'm going to talk about those Canadians. As I told you, they're a little too nice. But I'm going to give you an example. And this is going to be especially insane to you New Englanders. I had rented a car up there, and I went to fill it up before I returned it. And I got to a gas station, which was full service, which I appreciate, because it's still winter there as far as I'm concerned.
Amen.
But then the guy got done filling up the car, and I went to hand him the money, and he said, "Oh, you'll have to pay inside." Which defeats the purpose, if you ask me. But I was still happy I didn't have to pump the gas in the coal, so I said, "No problem." And I'm looking around, and there's nowhere to park. And he was like, "Oh yeah, just pull around, park anywhere." Okay, this guy's gonna let me drive out of his sight. And then he says something that absolutely baffled me. He said, "It's $32.50, just tell them that when you get inside." Y'all, I lived in Boston for several years. I never encountered that one time.
Some honest folks up there. What'd you tell them?
I told him $32.50. But then I rubbed Rob's beard and got my money back. Now this next story is about Potato. Please call him that. We're trying to bring it back.
I wanted to just stick for good.
Because we just learned that was his nickname when he was a young man, a schoolboy. His teachers and his friends' parents called him NATO Potato. And we know that because he has a duffel bag that he sewed himself as a schoolboy. Excellent craftsmanship, by the way. That thing has held up the test of time. But he put NATO Potato on the duffel bag that he made.
And for some reason, only just now started bringing it around.
Yeah, he thought he was in the safe zone. And he was wrong. Anyway, we're all a little concerned about Potato because he spells it with an E. Yeah. For those of y'all from Vermont, Potato doesn't have an E on it. The third syllable, that's the ending, the O. Potato. End of the word. Anyway. But now when we spell out his nickname, it's got an E on it, so please do that all over social media. But that's not the only reason we're concerned about Nathan, because we've learned some things about him along the way, and he's learned some things about himself. We've been touring with him for several years now, and what he has discovered on the road is that he has very intense dreams. And I don't mean aspirations. I mean things happen in his head while he's sleeping that affects the rest of us. Because we travel on a tour bus, and there are 10 of us that sleep in triple stacked bunk beds in a very, very small space. And so the first time this happened was about a year ago. And Potato claims it's the first time it's ever happened to him.
I don't know about that.
It's the only recorded one, I can tell you that. Anyway, it's about 3 in the morning, and we hear, "Somebody help me, please!"
Sounds just like that, too.
That is not an exaggeration. So I rip open my bunk curtain, and I'm like, "Nathan?" And I see, "Yeah, buddy." "Are you okay?" "Yeah, why?" "You were just pleading for assistance with something." "No, I'm good." "Great, I'll just try to go back to bed now." Turns out it's not an isolated incident. Because it happened again a couple weeks ago. Now, the first time around, only a few people heard it. This time, everyone heard it. And our lighting director, Cole, experienced it. You see, Cole sleeps above Potato. It goes Rob, Cole, Potato.
Rob, Potato, Cole.
Sorry. I told you I'm delirious right now. Rob, Potato, Cole. That's the configuration, okay. And so, this time we hear, "I'm down here, I'm down here, I'm down here!" Followed by an intense upward kick.
Just the hardest, loudest bam through thin, hollow wood you have ever heard.
And so, best we can tell, Nate thought he was getting buried or something. And what we've learned is that these bunks are engineered so that they can withstand almost any amount of pressure downward. However, we now know it takes very little upward pressure to send poor Cole flying through the air.
At 5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. after we had crossed the border coming back into the States around 2 or 3. So our sleeping schedule's already a little bit disrupted. You know, when you cross the border, everyone has to get off the bus and go in and show them we're normal and then get back on normal-ish. And then we get back on the bus and, you know, you just start to kind of fall asleep again. And then that happens. And Cole's bunk is about 6 feet in the air. Yeah. There's a wall of bunks here, a walkway, and an aisle of bunks here. Luckily, the one across from Cole is open. Well, it's not now, that's where Cole sleeps. But then it was. Thankfully, and also thankfully, Cole has unbelievable Spider-Man-like reflexes because he went from a dead sleep to completely sprawled out between the two bunks over the walkway, 6 feet in the air. And it's getting to be a boy who cried help me situation. But luckily I sprang forth again because this time I had to help Cole. And at this point, Nate kind of is actually being buried because he's dislodged that bunk above him. So Cole is Spider-Manning 6 feet in the air, and Nate is holding a dislodged bunk with his hands and feet.
Which is a little hard to wrap your head around at 5:30 a.m. when you peek out of your
It's impossible to wrap your head around, even to this day. And the worst part is you ask Nate what he was dreaming about, and he has no idea. He thinks the bunk thing happened first, and that's what he was yelling about. Anyway, so we helped poor Cole down from his perch. We fixed the bunk, and then tried to go back to sleep again. So, that's another reason we're a little bit more than delirious than we would normally be. But you guys are really getting us through tonight. Thank y'all so much. So we encourage you to stop by the merchandise table. Whether you've bought anything or not, whether you need any merchandise, doesn't matter. Stop by and say one of two things. Somebody help me, please! Or, I'm down here, I'm down here, I'm down here! And if there are any dream analysts here tonight, please come by after the show, because we would love to know the meaning of these Nate-mares. Thank you.